Very good. So as part of the AIP, one of the principal ideas, and I'm reminding you of something that you and I may have discussed probably last September when we were out in San Francisco, or maybe even as early as May or June when we first started the AAIP, and that is that the baby boomer population is looking for a place to go because they have problems, they're complex problems, and they need to know how to get them fixed. And they've been disappointed in the past, and so as periodontists, our whole mechanism of both marketing as well as treatment is that we are diagnosticians before we're surgeons. We are treatment planners before we're surgeons. We're treatment planners before we are dentists. And frankly, people are looking for that. It isn't putting in the implant. It isn't using the particular device that we happen to have in our office. It really is diagnosis and treatment planning. It's thinking about a case. It's being able to plan a case from start to finish in order to be able to make that case work and make that case work successfully. So with this particular mechanism, by putting us out there, patients don't care that we're periodontists. Patients do care that we are knowledgeable. Patients do care that we get a result. That's really what we're putting out there. But what occurred when we first started doing this, and this was many, many years ago, as you know, we started marketing in 2004, what we found very quickly, right off the bat, is that the value of the patient walking into the office was 3 times the value of the patient that that was referred. And so even if we had 1/3 the acceptance rate, of course we don't want that, but even if we had 1/3 of the acceptance rate of those patients who were referred, still we were breaking even. And by the way, that 3 times the value was perio and implants that had nothing to do with restorative dentistry. So I know it's a little bit, it takes a little bit of perhaps fortitude to be able to come out and market and put yourself out there. And of course we can do this on a gradual basis, and that's what we are doing. We're doing it on a gradual basis so that we can test the market with a better website. We can test the market with a Google AdWords campaign that's attached to that website. We might want to put ads in the newspaper. We may want to start giving dental implant lectures to the public, which is a very benign way of introducing yourself to external marketing. Just follow the Scott Westermeyer program that we went over in January, where you can put an ad in the newspaper advertising a lecture, perhaps even at your office, and start to get patients to come in to you directly. What Scott was very clear, what he pointed out to us at that time, was that he was then perceived as an expert simply because he was advertising himself and making himself available to the public to give them information on dental implants. And so that did raise his level of expertise among those people who were seeing him, and that is perception. And the fact that Scott could deliver the goods, and that he's a general dentist, of course, is important as well. I think Keith is on the air. Keith, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Oh, that's good.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. So I want to introduce you, and Keith, let me just, I'm going to transfer the screen over to you.
Can you see the screen?
I can see Principles of Marketing So Far, Organizer Lee Sheldon. Let me see. Yeah, so I can't see anything else yet. There, I see your screen now.
Good. Now I don't have my talk on. Ah, now I do.
There we go.
See that? You can see it?
I can see Gilleard Dental Marketing, the basic principles of marketing. Yes.
Good. Now let's see if it moves.
So let's go to this introduction, and that is that Keith gave a program on general marketing last time. We went over some websites and got some ideas, but today we're going to talk about ad design and what you can do when you're doing your own your ad design in order to be able to create something that's going to attract patients. And I want to say something, and Keith may argue with me, and that's okay. Keith and I have argued with each other before, haven't we, Keith?
We have, yes.
So, listen, there's this idea that if you get your name out there, that's the principle of marketing. And I'm going to tell you that is a false principle of marketing. Getting your name out there means well, I won't say it means absolutely nothing. But unless a patient is coming in as a direct result of your marketing, you're selling yourself short. If you go to somebody and they say, yeah, we want to create an awareness campaign, I'm going to tell you, run away from that person. Because an awareness campaign has no tracking, has no accountability, and all they're saying is we're branding you and we're making people aware of you. That's not the way advertising works, at least not the kind of advertising that I'm doing and the kind of advertising that Keith is doing. The idea of marketing is to bring patients into your office. It's to get patients calling your office. And unless that's doing it, then frankly, that's probably not a good way to spend your money. You should be spending money on getting patients into your office. And you can do all of the branding. You can do all of the awareness by doing that, but the real bottom line is more patients are calling you into your office. Keith and I got together several years ago and in a perio awareness campaign, and now we've gotten together in a direct-to-patient marketing campaign. I'm using Keith's website, or a website that Keith designed. I'm using the Google AdWords campaign that's attached to that website, and I'm using Keith's magazine. And just so you get an idea of the number of patients we have, as a result of Keith's marketing, last month 48 new patients came into our office. That's specifically Keith's marketing. We had a total of 82 new patients coming into the office last month. Keith, it's getting awfully noisy there. What's going on?
It's all right. I'm in my home office.
Yes.
I'm being in the home office. I have a wild cat. Well,
that's good. As long as you're not on the treadmill, I want to introduce to you Keith Gilleard. Hi, Keith. By the way, Keith, do you have any arguments with what I said?
No, I don't. No, it's good. Okay. Because Dr. Sheldon was and is a good marketer in his own right. He just needed to have a few things made for him, which is very difficult for a periodontist when you're in people's mouths most of the time.
Right.
Anyway, so let's see. Are the people who are here tonight, were they there on the last talk?
If they were, and everybody who wasn't received a DVD of the last talk. So everybody who's on tonight received the talk from February one sense or another.
Oh, okay. Oh, you should send me one too. I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that.
Yeah, because I made most of it up on the spot. Just kidding. Well, actually, I do actually, because it's difficult. I like interaction. It's a shame we don't have one where I can have interaction from the...
There will be people who can ask questions, and I'll try to open the microphones later on. In the meantime, for all of you in the audience, you do have a question box. If there are questions that come up during Keith's talk, just type it in, and I will read off your question, okay? Go ahead, Keith.
Okay,
it's all yours.
All right. So basically, we were just going over some basic principles. I mean, obviously, marketing takes there's a lot of technologies involved. Marketing's from the conceiving of something to sell to the production of it, the making of it, the promotion of it, the marketing of it, the public relations work of it, the making sure it can be produced, making sure it can be delivered, making sure when it is, it's exchanged for with either money or goods or something, and then having feedback and then utilizing the successes of what you've done to create further business and so forth. So, I mean, marketing is a very broad subject. It includes, in market research alone, you have to know about statistics and as well as the research, and it goes on and on. Anyway, so it's a fairly big subject, plus looking at what's successful, seeing what other people have done in the past, seeing what they're doing in the present, and nowadays keeping up with technology and on how to disseminate a message, or what you were just talking about. Thinking getting your name out there is not enough, but once you have something to send out, how do you do that? So all that's included. It's like media buying and all the rest of it. So, but in these couple of hours, I just wanted to touch on what is important for a doctor to understand about marketing his practice and his services, and that practice wants to deliver him greater volume, and so that when you're listening to people who call you or talk to you or you meet or at trade shows, you'll have some idea of what it is, because probably you're not going to do your own marketing. You might do some of it, but most of it you'll have another company or person do for you. So the more you understand, the more you have a reality on what it is that's important about marketing and what isn't, or what's just trivial, or what's just technical, mechanical basically, then you'll be able to make a bit better decision in spending your money. So I'm basically just trying to achieve that with this, so that, but at the same time, it might give you ideas to do some shoestring marketing of your own and have a go at it. It's fun, especially when you start to see a few patients come in for very little expense, or at least get some coming in and instead of none. So that's all I was trying to do. So that, having said that, when you do promotion is like making something well known and well thought of. What is it that you'll be offering, and how, so that it will get a response, because that's what you're doing. Promotion includes advertising, events, market, public relations events, or even press releases, depending on what you're selling. But you're just making something known, well known and well thought of, and you want to get a response from that. That's why you do it. So, and basically, even with periodontal work, you've got different types of people, and in marketing it's called audiences, in public relations called publics. Not everybody is a human being in marketing and public relations. You got different audiences. Like in dentistry, you have the young family with the mother might want orthodontic work and so forth. You have older people who've not looked after their teeth, some of them, and so you've got the scared of the dentist, let my teeth go to hell public, that need either implants or prosthetics, dentures and so forth. And then you just have ones who have bad diets, they have bad gums for whatever reason, and they're different people with different needs, different wants, different what we call buttons. It's what they consider valuable, what they need, what they want, what they desire, what they would demand of a practice, and what they would expect from the service. All those things are buttons, and it's information you collect through surveys. So people with and I put there people with bad looked after teeth that now need dentures or implants, or young families with orthodontic needs and general dental needs such as checkups and so forth. So you've got different types of people that you're going to be communicating with, which is relatively obvious, but it's an important point when you're going to be spending money on advertising, to And it's very important in the medium that you use, and they have different buttons, different values, different desires. So you just need to separate them out in your mind, who you're dealing with. And of course, you've got your own client, your own patients as well. You have your own patient public, and with periodontists, you also have the doctor public, the doctor audience, where you'll be looking for referrals from the doctors that don't do implants or don't do the perio work that you do, that you would like. So again, completely different people that respond to different communications. So the three main steps in marketing. So intelligence gathering, which is market research, including studying your competitors, and surveys on your target audience. A survey being, where you ask them questions one-on-one to find out in depth what someone considers. And you do that on many people, and the greater percentage of the same answers is the buttons that you will be interested in, the information that you'll be more interested in using, obviously, because you have a greater proportion of the sample. The sample that you take is the type of people that you want to get the information from, like the older people who might need implants or denture work. The implants all on 4, 5, 6, 7, that sort of work. So you do the surveys on them to find out what they would like, what they want, what they consider valuable, and that's what you use in the marketing for that public. You might have people around you, other doctors that do the same thing. You want to find the ones who are doing really well and see what they're saying and how they market and how they present themselves, because you don't really want to look like them, otherwise you won't differentiate yourself from them, and then people have no reason to choose you. Although in dentistry you do have people who come newly into the town or who come to you different ways. You're not generally advertising at the moment to the layman. You're usually having doctors refer to you, but that market is diminishing as more and more doctors start to do that work themselves. So basically, I went over this last week, about gathering information, and that's very important. So you study the competition, and really what you're doing is you just want to make sure that you stand out from the competition, because Jack Trout is a marketing guy from the 70s. They came up with the whole idea and philosophy of what was called positioning, where you place yourself, your product or service, in the mind of your prospects with relation to something else, some other product or service or thing. And he said that differentiate or die. It was a whole book on the subject, but that's basically what you're doing. If you want to do well with your marketing, you need to differentiate yourself from the other doctors that may be just down the street from you. And if you're looking for, I'm talking now about laymen, not your marketing to other dentists. Although the same principles apply, but so for the layman, you need to show that you're different. And if you look at the competitors' websites or their postcards or whatever, radio, TV ads, you can get an idea of what they're saying. Now, fortunately, in dentistry, not many dentists do good advertising. It's quite bad. It lacks a lack of research and surveys, a lack of the use of the buttons that are found in the headlines and the copy. So I went over that last week. Sometimes there's not a lot of competition. So just doing good marketing will work, So, and I showed that as a bad page because there's no headline, there's no attract interest, nothing to attract our interest, and it's just information about what an implant is, which anyone can get from anywhere. So it doesn't differentiate you in any way, shape, or form from anyone or Wikipedia. So So you don't want to do that. And that was with excuse me, one moment. So when we showed a page from Dr. Sheldon's site where we're using the headline, okay, let's see, just one moment, I'm going to have to do something here.
While we're taking a cat break, let me just emphasize to you on what's on
Cat
the.
is the thing.
I want to emphasize what's on the upper left-hand corner here, Keith, because it's important. It's something the periodontists, and I know I've talked with you, and some of you are having difficulty with this, and that's the red number that says $79. The red number that says $79 for comprehensive exam, digital x-rays, and a CT scan if needed is a big attractor. I mean a big attractor. I know some of you are saying, well, gee, it's unprofessional, advertise low fees, or I paid so much for my CAT scan. That $79 is really important. I don't care what website you have. Put an offer there because it is going to make the phone ring. Back to you, Keith.
Yes, very important point. Because an ad, this is one of the points I was going to mention a bit later. When you do an ad, you have to have, you can't just say, here is the most fantastic thing in the world of that kind, and not say something to make someone do something. You have to have something in your advertising that makes someone do something, whether it be they've got an ad for an offer and it's a call to action, so now they're going to call you. Or you can even have call now for, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. There might be an offer that only lasts a short time. You've probably seen these sort of things. Or the first 90 people get this, that, and the other. Or, you know, if you, limited space, all those things are calls to action. Complimentary consultation. You don't have to offer the free CT scan or anything like that. You can do a complimentary consultation where you don't do that. But there's something there that makes someone do something. So an ad always has to have someone doing something. Otherwise, they're not going to do anything. Most people are not that motivated. They're not that self-igniting. If you attract an interest and get a message across that they're actually reading and listening to, and they get through to the end of it, you better make sure you do some call to action. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. They're not that self-motivated. It's not going to happen. It may happen once or twice, but if you want a lot of people calling, you've got to have calls to action. Anyway, that was good that you brought that up. That's one of the points that I would be getting to. So sometimes the competition is tougher, like dental implants in Las Vegas. There's a lot of advertising, a lot of them doing cutthroat marketing and all this sort of stuff. Look at that, free sedation, Las Vegas dental implant, $550 value for the sedation, and they offer that. And sometimes they'll offer implants for like $2,000 or, you know, really ridiculous thing. Anyway, so then the second step would be create marketing items, websites, ads, direct mail, that have messages that will resonate with the target audience. That resonation is their buttons. You ask me what kind of a camera I'm going to buy next and why. I would say I need to get one that does video with autofocus while I'm videoing, but in a way that the movie cameras do that, the very expensive ones that cost $50,000 or $100,000. I want that in a nice $2,000 camera. And then I said, well, why? Because I'm going to start doing a lot more videos, and I want that smooth focus, and it can only be done by certain kinds of sensors. And so there's only certain types of cameras that have it. So right there, you have enough people looking for that type of thing in a 35mm single lens reflex camera. You can create that product or service, or if you already have it, which Canon do, then they can advertise that with the headline is, movie camera focus, cinematic focusing available on the single lens reflex camera, and I'd instantly be looking at it. So you have to find what will resonate. Like, we've done a lot of market research and surveys on thousands of people actually related to dentistry, and even so, each practice we found as is different and needs a little survey within that geographic location for that particular type of practice and type of public that visit it. But there are many buttons that are common throughout the United States that don't vary, and they all have to be shown, even though they may not be the main key button that you can base. You may have heard of branding or positioning, where you create an image for yourself that is the key message about you that travels and then gets through the marketing and through word of mouth, and it becomes fixed in people's minds that you are the ones to go to for this particular thing, and this is why, because you've got the qualities in there. But people, when they're reading marketing ads, you have to use all of the buttons that you found that were the high percentages, 50, 60, 70, 80%. So most people want gentle, friendly, and caring staff and doctor. Those are three buttons that are common. So show that in the advertising or in the message, in the illustration. They want a doctor who's experienced, knowledgeable, competent. So show experience, show knowledgeable, talk about knowledgeable, the continuing education, your degrees, your doctor training, your show photographs of your certificates in the background. Put the symbols of the universities and medical schools and so forth on the website somewhere. All those things show knowledgeable and competent. Get some people who've had your work done, who love what you've done. Big smiling faces. Take photos of them. Put them up. Get a testimonial. Have that there. Shows that you're competent. So those are all ways of showing those buttons, and all those are buttons. And so the messages then that you create will resonate with a large proportion of the people that get your message.
I can't tell you how important testimonials are. And the efforts, and those of you who've seen our seminars know the efforts that we make to getting success stories. So those success stories are there, and once we have the success stories and a smiling face or a smiling face next to my smiling face, you can use that in your reception room. You can use that in your financial arrangements area. You can use that on your website. You can use that in magazines you do. You can use that in books that you do. All of those things. A smiling patient with a story saying how good you are, that can be used a lot, and it can be used for a long, long time.
A long time.
A smiling patient will last your entire career.
That's right. So that's what we mean by resonate with the target audience, because it's those things that those people want. Not what you want, not what you think is good or important. It's what they think and know is vital, that you have the qualities that you have to have for them to want to even consider coming to your practice. So that's why marketing research and surveys are that vital to good advertising. And this is one of the things that at the beginning I said I wanted you to really understand, that just putting any words or any pictures on a piece of paper and mailing it out is not advertising. It's actually not anything. Well, it's almost nothing. If you put your name and your address and that you're a dentist on a piece of paper, and it goes mailing out to all of the tens of thousands of people or hundreds of thousands of people, you'll get some people who see it and say, oh, I was looking for a dentist. I think I'll give them a call and see what they're like, or go to your website. But again, then you just have to have your name and that you're a dentist and the service that you do, and then some of them will call. But if you do some research and get some information and show those things, you will have 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more response. So we're talking about here how to get response. And if you're going to spend all that money on creating a website or postcards or magazines or magazine ads or newspaper ads, you have to have a certain response to make it profitable, to make it worthwhile. Otherwise, you're into the bad position of knowing that you have to market and knowing that you're going to be spending money on marketing, but hating the results that you get. So,
Keith, can you talk a little bit about testing and what you do to test so you don't spend a lot of money on an ad that doesn't work?
No. Don't spend a lot, because you just do we call it a pilot. You do, even when we're pretty certain of what's going to work, if it's a postcard, we'll mail a few, we'll print a few and mail a few to where we think we'll get the best results, and then have a tracking number on the card. And then not only can we see how many people are calling in from the card, but also what they say on the phone, and if they're being taken care of at the front desk properly. And then you see, and then also what their first service costs and what their treatment plan is, So you really get to know who's coming in and what they're buying and what the production is from that case. So if it seems good, then you do a lot and send a lot out.
Yeah, and I think
same
that's
with the
point
website.
to be made. And I know I'm talking over you because there is a little bit of delay, and I'm sorry. But it's a point to be made because one of the things that occurs when you first get into marketing is you're approached by a salesman, and the salesman says, good, we can corner the market, and you can do thus and so. And you end up spending an awful lot of money because you've listened to what a salesman says. But instead, there are two things that are important, Keith, and correct me if I'm wrong. One is you need to have the right group of people who are looking at the ad. The second thing is that you have to have the right message. And frankly, the right people looking at the ad is probably more important than the message, but the message is quite important. And if the message doesn't resonate and if people don't call, you change the message until people do call. And that's why you do testing on a small number of patients, or do small ads first to make sure that message resonates. And then once it does, then you know it's worthwhile spending a lot of money on that same message.
Yeah, it's and having the internet is quite a breakthrough in that area, because now no longer do you have to actually do a lot of printing of things and then potentially waste the print run, because when you have a website you can test every single page that you make, because every page should be an ad basically, or part of a package, 2 or 3 pages that create the whole ad. So you can put it up, run what's called AdWords, where you pay to have someone, for Google, say, to put your ad on the first page where people are looking, the search results. They'll click on it, go to the website. So now you can track what page they go to, how long they stay on the page, do they go to another page, and also with the phone number that's a tracking number, you can tell whether they called in for an appointment and so forth. So if you find you've got some service that people are going on the page but then going immediately off it and away, there's something wrong there. So then you can change things, see if you can work out what it is that is not quite right, change it overnight, and then boom, you're off again. So, and it doesn't really cost anything to do that, except maybe 10 minutes of time or an hour, working it out, depending what it is. So it's brilliant having the web to do that. And once you've got it working on the web, then with a lot of certainty, you can reproduce that in print. And then away you go. You know, you got yourself a nice little machine of new patient machine, really. So testing is vital to the whole thing, and keeping stats, and looking at it with a viewpoint of marketing, you know. So that's what you say, that's what you do. It's very important. Another page showing just the use of buttons, you know, confident and knowledgeable dental implant placement with friendly, caring, gentle, you know, look at that picture there. That's a nice reception lady and patient. The doctor with his high-tech. That's another button, high-tech, state-of-the-art. So show that. It's all stuff. 3 main steps to marketing. So the third one will be getting these in front of people via whatever medium you want to use, you know, whether it be direct marketing, radio, TV, AdWords, and so forth. And so the medium that we found with dentists is a website and mobile phone site now, you know, a smartphone, because more and more people are using smartphones and tablets to go online and do their shopping or looking and so forth. In fact, I think it's about up to 40% nearly now. We do tracking of our clients, the people calling in, are they using smartphones, tablets, or the other computers, and I think it's up to nearly 40% now using smartphones. So we found that is very important, and then using print to get the people who are going to procrastinate because of the cost of some services. It's more direct and a little bit more local with the website, but for the dentist, not if you're selling software and things like that, because you do a whole different approach to the marketing. But then you want to do some print work with a bit more information, so that people who need to save up for like $20,000 in implant work or more or less, or they need to talk to their spouse, or they need to do wait for a tax return, or they need to build up courage to come in, you know, all those things. So the print they can hold on to, and you get a lot more people that way, and it retains your name and who you are, whereas the web doesn't, and most people do not bookmark anyway. So if they're not going to buy now, they're not going to remember, most of them. So you do that, and you'll then also, the print has people, it's another way, it's just like doing AdWords. That's just one, AdWords is just another form of advertising. You pay Google to put your ad up, and then people will click on it and go to your website. So AdWords is not part of your website. AdWords is just advertising to get people to go to it. Any print marketing, if you have your web address on it, will also get people going to your website. So you increase the number of visitors to a website. So that's another reason why you want your website to be a good website that resonates with people, so that it increases the effectiveness of any advertising, even word of mouth. Because people, when they're told by a friend or a relative, yeah, you're a good dentist, you know, Dr. Sheldon's a great dentist, they'll go to his website, not even if it's only to see where he is. But if you impress on them and they start to read it, they will now come in knowing pretty well what they want to do and what they want to buy and what they want to have, you know. And in fact, some of our magazines that we make, I was just talking to a doctor in near Sacramento yesterday. He said that he's becoming a celebrity around that area because people see his name on, you know, his face on the front of the magazine, and they bring it in and say, I want to see this doctor. Well, that become a problem now, because he's just got 2 associates hired, and he doesn't want him to get all the patients, people coming in. So we're going to do a reprint of it and put all 3 doctors on the front, which works fine. I've done it already with several. So it does have that. It does have an impression. It does have an effect on people. Good advertising, that they want that thing. So, because the motto of marketing is create want, you know, create desire, create that emotional attachment to something, that they want what you have, you know. Anyway, I'm done on that. So let's have a look. Yeah, that's just, I went over that last week. It's just people trying to be cute with Google, trying to put in the name of the doctor and the practice 100 times in a couple of paragraphs, just so that they'll cheat the search engine robots that go around looking to see who should go on up first and all that. Anyway, it's not good marketing. That's some of the magazines. That's some print media that we do, which is successful. See how we got 3 doctors on the one in San Diego and 2 on the one in Birmingham. Because they do. The one in Atlanta, anyone and everyone, he was recognized all over the place. And people in Starbucks say, oh, I remember you, I'm going to call you. Doctors even, dentists would call him. Anyway, and a lot of people would come in, I want to see this doctor. Anyway. Again, this is a periodontist, Dr. Henry Odd. He does really well. He has a practice in Pasadena, but he also has a general practice now. 2 general practices, one in San Diego, one in Murrieta. We just started advertising for the one in Murrieta. The reason why we're doing all that work is because by doing proper advertising, you get a lot of people coming in. They know that. And he hooked up with a prosthodontist, and they do all the specialist work now in several practices, but they decided to buy their own. And he has his own in Pasadena, so this is part of the one from Pasadena. And this is actual advertising for another periodontist, and is doing great. Just people are coming in, like from the general public, not from other doctor referrals. And it hasn't affected his doctor referrals either. So this is good. Again, get a free second opinion, complimentary dental implant consultation. You've always got to have calls to action on, and so forth. So there's several components to getting a message across, which is using our hot buttons. So you say in the headline what it is that you know that they're interested in. That's simple. Simple thing. Unfortunately, it's not used by many in dentistry. So you put them in the headlines and the text, the buttons, those things that minimally invasive, dental implants are modern and experience and knowledge you can trust, and so forth. So the second way of getting your message across, personalized text showing that you can provide them what they need and want from a dentist and from the service being marketed. So when you know the buttons, you use that within the copy, but you talk about, it says here personalized, and that's the key. Personalized being, you've got to not just say what a service is, but that you as the doctor provide that service. And using the use of the buttons that you know, like with the modern technology, blah, 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 and our friendly, gentle, caring staff here at X practice, and you know, our experience of 25 years goes to make the you know, the natural teeth you can eat naturally with, you know, things like that. And then you show the patient, show the testimonial next to that, and then go into the service. But you're basically telling someone why they should choose you, and that's why it needs to be personalized, not just a Wikipedia entry. A dental implant is, you know, like this is from one website. Look, what's that? It doesn't separate him out from anything. So, and then imagery and photos is a good way of doing it too, because it's very visual. And then you can add to that videos, of course. We haven't found that videos are vital. We have found that later on, once you've got the marketing working well, that videos help in several ways. One is they do tend to increase the number of new patients, but you have to have the rest of the website or the print in order, correct, before they will do that. They let search engines know that your website is current, up to date, and not an old, unused one. If you put them in, say, even one a month of a testimonial, you could put a video of a patient. Plus, peer reviews are always good, and you can hook it up with have it on your website page, and then they click on it. But the actual videos are stored up in YouTube, and YouTube's owned by Google, so that helps as well in optimization and so forth. So, or you can do special videos that take a lot of time and effort, but if you script it the same as we would do a magazine or a website to sell a service, and then have that done professionally, it will capture those people that like to look at videos and who are visual. Some people don't like to read a lot, but they like to look at things. So you can then have the same effect on those people from a really well-made video, but they're fairly expensive to produce. So I would first get the message right and your advertising correct before you get into spending a lot on that, because those videos alone are not enough to actually get people in. And if you get it wrong, then you've wasted a lot of money. So that was my 2 cents on that. But photographs and any kind of illustration or image, any imagery that goes along showing the buttons, then that's great. And then you have offers, the calls to action. And that have to be suitable for the type of people. Like for implants, we found complimentary consultation works well. And even the one that Dr. Sheldon has. I think out of all of the clients that we have, probably most of the offers are complimentary consultation for implant work, and offers of $49, $79, $89 for other kinds of general dentistry work, like what they would call cosmetic, or just having a general dental work done, getting the new people in who move to town and they want to find a dentist. They usually have a little offer like that to get them to come and get cleaning, X-rays, whatever it is that they want to make in the ad. So, but it's just suitable, that's all. We've got a lot of offers that we know work because we've done a lot of it, but they have to be appropriate for that type of service. So, do you have any questions, Lee?
No particular questions right now, Keith. I think
We've got more.
We are talking about construction of the ad, and actually we are running. We started. We started at 9 o'clock, so we're running okay. But are there any questions from the audience so far? And I can, if you want to raise your hand, I can certainly call on you. I haven't seen the written questions yet, but anybody have anything that they want answered right now, and I'll just get you right on the air. Okay, so far no, Keith.
Okay. So let's see. How long have we got left?
Well, generally the webinars are an hour. We started off probably about 10, 15 minutes late, so we can certainly go for another 10 or 15 minutes, which is fine.
Okay. Well, here's an example.
You can't count what I said. What I said doesn't count towards the webinar. It's all you.
So anyway, here is an example. Say you have a person called Anna, and she wants to run a house cleaning business. So she's been cleaning houses for 2 years and wants to expand the business and hire some employees. She likes the idea of marketing a non-toxic cleaning concept. So what are you going to do? So what should she do? Well, going by what we've just been talking about, study the competition. Hanny does the study of successful house cleaning companies in their area and sees what they are offering, how they get their business, and pricing. See, there's a lot of data in looking at other companies. She specifically looks into any businesses that are offering any type of eco or non-toxic cleaning. She isolates her public as women 35 to 55 in specific more affluent neighborhoods. Those are the ones who were buying into the non-toxic cleaning. So she writes a little survey. Qualifying question is, have you ever used a house cleaner or maid service? Because obviously those are the people that you want to have. It's quite obvious. So, and then she says, what do you look in a house cleaner when choosing one? I was like, your house cleaned. You're just finding data. You don't want to lead. You don't want to go into the non-toxic or anything right now. What would cause you to choose one house cleaner over another? What did you like about the house cleaners you have used in the past? What didn't you like? See, all this is great data. If you get this data, it's like a gold mine for being able to communicate with someone about house cleaning. And then you start going into the toxic questions and so forth. So you can see the rest of the questions there that go into that. And then what range of price are you willing to pay for a good house cleaning? How did you find, this is important, how did you find a cleaner in the past, you know? It would be, also, in there would be, they probably say a lot online. And if you wanted to find one now, where would you look? So, and where do you live and so forth. So are you a homeowner or a renter? Then you're doing a bit of demographic work. Whatever, that there is depending on what the product or service is. So basically all that you can see is very valuable data if you're going to market. And you can do the surveys different ways, phone calls, go to trade shows, online research panels, call clients, do Google surveys even. There's lots of different ways of getting the data.
I can tell you one thing that we did when we were running radio ads. We actually just did a survey of what media, and we were doing radio and we were doing TV at the time. And so our patients were coming in for the regular hygiene visits. We just gave them a piece of paper. What radio station do you listen to? Where do you get your news from? And what newspaper do you read, or something like that? You know, simple questions. And then that allows you to know, okay, here's your group. You like these patients. These are the types of patients that least listen to this particular radio station, and it's very simple to be able to determine what medium you want to use just based on that.
Oh yeah, yeah. It can be very simple actually, yeah, to find out. The questioning you do want to depends what you're questioning about. Obviously, this would be different for if you're looking for people who need full mouth reconstruction or whatever. But this is, I'm just giving an example away from dentistry so that you're not involved in it with your own ideas about what you've done and so forth. Positioning, well, that's where you place a product or service in someone's mind in relationship to something else, some other thing, service or product. This was a famous one from when the Beetle was, before it was all modified, from the 70s, I think, this one. Then they got Think Small, you see. So the position there is quite an eye-catcher. That ad did brilliant for Beatles. Yeah. No, we'll get rid of that. So position is where you put a product or service in someone's mind in relation to other companies, things, services, or the products that they are familiar with. These will be the services or products that people would associate with in relation to the one you are advertising because you put them there. The survey shows the button, which is the desire, the value, the need or want. And then this button then is used to align with something that the people surveyed would know, you do that by survey, as having that quality, property or characteristic. So it's like if I know you like Star Wars and I have a book, that I'd like you to read, and it's a science fiction book, then I say, hey, I've got a book here. I think you'll like it. You say, oh, what's it like? You say, well, it's like Star Wars. Or you say, what's it about? You say, well, it's a bit like Star Wars. So right there, you positioned it with Star Wars. And I knew you liked Star Wars from my survey earlier when I said to you, what kind of books do you like? in sci-fi. And then, boom, I've already now communicated something that was completely unknown to him. In a way, now he likes it already, and he hasn't even opened a page of it. That's positioning. Anyway, simplistic view of positioning, but nevertheless it is. There's one that I just dug up from a newspaper. Look, the whole truth, trust the wisdom and nature, deliver the power of whole food, act for all. Some prostate, 5LX, wherever it is, there, but they've got it positioned with healthy-looking green plants. I mean, by survey, we've also found that people associate outdoors, greenery and all that with health, so, and healthy and pure, not chemically. Another one, Next Generation Organic, owned by family farms, raw milk cheese. So the graphic there is this man with a little baby in a healthy looking farm situation. So it's positioning raw milk cheese, but already now you've got a full view, you've got a better association of it. Otherwise it's just cheese, you know, anyway. So what position should Anna own? If the buttons that we found from the survey was cleaner arrives on time, cleaner is thorough, 60% use non-toxic cleaning products, and 45% cleaner is affordable. Well, you can obviously see from that if she wants to do a business with non-toxic cleaning products, she's got a good audience there, because 60% that came up on the survey. So then the survey respondents said that other cleaners don't clean thoroughly enough and don't use non-toxic cleaning, but they would like to use them. And they're concerned, however, that non-toxic cleaning materials are not effective. So that's what you get from your survey. Because if you just said you do non-toxic cleaning, but you have a lot of people who think that they're not effective, then you're not going to get anywhere. So that was vital data to know. So thorough is the 70% button, non-toxic cleaning 60% button. From her previous studies of other cleaning companies, she sees that no company talks about non-toxic, but a lot do talk about being thorough. So Anna decides that she will adopt the positioning of non-toxic cleaner, as this also fits with what she most wants to do. So then she does what we call a positioning survey. Basically, you're trying to find out what represents that button in a thing that you can illustrate. So, because you can't illustrate abstract ideas, so you have to have a thing. So she takes the button non-toxic cleaning and makes a couple of positioning survey questions. What comes to mind immediately when I say non-toxic cleaning? What do you think of immediately when I say non-toxic? What is the most non-toxic thing you can think of? So from that you're going to start getting some things. So basically what came up on the survey then would be a stream of clean water in a mountain. So there's a photo of it. And there's a clean room. And there's a headline, thorough house cleaning, see, because thorough was a big button, using non-toxic materials. Now you got attention. Thorough, we clean all corners and we cover in time, affordable. Safe, bio-friendly cleaning products. Powerful natural cleaning agents. So this handles the not effective. They're just as good or better than chemical cleaners, you know. This is a made-up idea on the spot. This is not a finished thing. This was never in use or anything. This is just for illustration. You could use clinical studies or, you know, testing studies and proven and all that, you know. That's why they used to do those old things when they show you on the television, you know, Daz cleans whiter than white, and here's this power, here's a stain from, this is the usual cleaner and this is Daz, and look how clean it is, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, So there you go. And then 10% off with this ad. See, call to action, do something now. And usually you put expires at the 31st of March on it so that it makes them act now. And so that was all I wanted to go over tonight, basically. It's a lot to go, there's a lot you can go over. It takes a few days to actually get through everything, but...
Well, yeah, and that's good, Keith, because essentially when you talk about basic principles of marketing, that's really what it is. And there are principles that, if followed, are more likely to produce a result. Just given my experience, and perhaps yours as well, is that, not every ad always produces, does it?
No.
Yeah, and so we have to be able to maximize the opportunity for the ad to work, and the way we do that was with a particular construction of the ad, and I think what we saw with this non-toxic cleaning service, I think, really tells the story, because it isn't just what is the person doing. That's not important. You see dentists listing services all the time. Oh, we do implants, we do perio, we do fillings, we do crown and bridge, we do dentures, we do endo, we do this, we do that. And you see that in an ad. Take a look at any, I know Yellow Pages aren't popular anymore, but take a look at a Yellow Pages ad now, and you'll see the way people advertise. And advertising, just listing the things that you do, does not attract the soul. What it does do is to essentially make you the same as every other person who's advertising. And the point here is that we want to differentiate ourselves. And we already can differentiate ourselves simply because we're periodontists and we're diagnosticians, and people need help. And frankly, if you want to know the key to my website, and please study my website, Keith designed it. Study my website. It is, if you need help, this is the place to go. And I'm the expert because look at all these testimonials, look at the chat, look at the book that I wrote, and I'm not bragging, but that's essentially the way we position me. And that's the way, and that's the type of patient that we attract. The fact that we're doing surveys beforehand in order to be able to find out what those buttons are that a person just looks at makes that website or makes that ad that much more effective. So it does take a little bit of work to get there. If you haven't written a book, that's okay. You have written an article. You have written a booklet. You have written something for a journal someplace. You've spoken to a local civic group, and you had something to say. All of those things, when you do that, that does position you as an expert, and that's what we're doing in the AIP, is to position ourselves as experts in the subject of complex dentistry and periodontics. That's what we're doing, and that's what Keith knew what I was doing, and Keith was able to capitalize on what I was already doing and what you're already doing too, in order to be able to create, as I said, 48 new patients last month just from Keith's advertising. So it can be done, and it can be done very, very effectively. Any other words, Keith? Now that I've done a partial monologue.
No, that was good. I like that.
All right, good. Well, Keith, I want to thank you for taking. I mean, Keith is an expert in marketing, and what's interesting, Keith is an expert in dental marketing, and he's been very successful for many, many people, and now is becoming essentially the periodontal guru. So thanks for hitting us in that direction as well, because there are a lot of periodontists who are calling you now.
Yeah, actually, it's fortunate that we're around, because I haven't seen any other companies that do what we do other than just guess, and so with periodontists, you're in great shape to do really, really, really well, because you already have inbuilt into the fact that you are a specialist. You have done that extra training. You have got that extra experience. You do own that extra knowledge. You have created competent, very complex work on some people with what you've done, which is way out of the realms of what most general dentists have, as far as ability. And so, and by research that we've done, you have the qualities that people are looking for when they have to spend a lot of money. So you can get those people to come to you for that work just by reason of who you are and what you've done, with the correct formulation of putting all of those qualities into correct advertising. You can do very, very well. In fact, we've already proven it many times now with as more and more specialists realize that they need to basically, it's like fighting back. You know, the general dentist is taking the complex cases for implants and so forth, doing their own work, and less referrals to the periodontist. So it's perfect timing to do a little advertising. And we found also that you don't lose business to the general dentist, because there are a lot of general dentists who don't do the type of work that you do. Regardless, you know, the vast majority don't. Not even though more and more general dentists are doing that work, it's taking time. Not everyone's caught on yet, and you do have time right now to capture that market, and it is a wave that's been forming and has formed, and you can ride the crest of that wave, because there's a lot more. In the last 3 years, I would say, there's been a lot of general public realizing that implants is the way to go, and that it is expensive, but they do have to find the right dentist to do it, not just go on cost. It's not something that the majority of people will buy implants not based on cost but on quality of service, and you have that as one of your main buttons, from talking in terms of buttons, as periodontists. So you're in a great position to capture some of that market that's becoming available now.
And it gives us the opportunity of referring to the general dentist, the prosthodontist that we want to work with, to assure that the patients get the best result. So it works to the patient's advantage.
Yes, it is. It's win-win. Anyway.
Absolutely. Well, Keith Gilleard, I want to thank you again for spending these last 2 sessions with the AIP, and we all look forward to spending more time with you in the future. Okay, great. Yeah, I enjoy it. Shame that it's only an hour, although I'm sure I would bore you after about 4 or 5. No. Maybe one day we can do a whole day workshop or something like that. You know, really get. Well, that is the future of the AAIP, but you're giving away secrets right now. So anyway, thanks, Keith. On March 18th, Danielle will be with us back again. She's going to talk about how to get your staff to create relationships with your patients to build trust and increase acceptance. And listen, and Keith and I have talked about this. Once the patient sees the ad, then they have to make the phone call, and you and I have already talked about this. The person who's on who's answering your phone had better be very, very well trained to get that patient in. And then once that patient's in, then you need a staff who's very, very well trained to talk about big dollars and nurture the patient to the point where the patient accepts. And this is what we do, and this is what Danielle teaches so well, and she's going to speak a little bit about that on March 18th, how to get your staff to create relationships, because it is relationship building that is going to result in patients deciding that, in fact, now they've walked into your office, now they want you to do the work. So we'll look forward to having you with us on March 18th. I'll be back with you on April 1st. We'll talk about the webinar. We'll talk about exactly what we did tonight, how you do your own webinar, but how you do it for potential patients. That's it for tonight's AAIP webinar. We look forward to seeing you again. And please, any questions, any comments, just send me an email. Send Danielle an email. Good night.